Something I did find out that I made a comment about last time, that I was expecting a Witwicky in the Bayverse movies. Spike and what was his father's name?
I think they call him Sparkplug or something.
Yes. Their last name is Witwicky.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That's where that name came from.
I didn't know that. Literally had no idea. So this was all new to me. Gen Wars. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Gen Wars. We're going to watch part 2, episode 2. No, episode 2 of 1. Part 1. I don't know.
It's a three-parter,
like
baby.
We'll figure it out in a minute. But this is a podcast about the generational differences between Gen X and, as Steven likes to call himself, the filthy, filthy millennials.
The dirty, filthy millennial.
Oh, dirty, filthy millennials? Is that what we're doing?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. And the time we grew up in, and the Transformers that we watched, because I watched G1, and Steven, my co-host, watched Beast Wars. Boo to the Beast Wars.
No, the superior product, Beast Wars.
The superior product, okay. But due to our first episode, we knew this was a high potentiality of happening. We got a copyright claim on our video. So we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to do more of a watch along opposed to having the video running on screen this time. So hopefully we can avoid those copyright claims. Let's first off plug Steven's channel before we go anywhere.
Yes, my channel, Funky Games, where the second part of this will be. We're doing a joint release schedule. So first part, Gen Wars, will be here on the channel. Fire Hazard, 508 Creations, the glorious play things into display things. And then you can jump over to my channel, Funky Games, where we play a lot of video games and have other discussions about video games. So that's where the Beast Wars section will be. So after you watch this, go right over to that one.
I do all the editing for all the video game stuff.
I'm might be doing that.
Quadruple duty.
So we collab on a lot of different things, but this one's a more literal sense of that collaboration. So we appreciate you checking out this joint venture in both of our channels. So kisses.
And don't forget to go to funky.store for all your merchandise. He's wearing it right now. He's got that nostalgia t-shirt on. He had his Big Mood t-shirt on last time. That's also a nice one.
Yeah,
but go over there and check it out. I've been pushing him to get some new stuff in there. Maybe he'll drop some Transformers merch sometime soon.
Who knows? Who knows? No one can control what I do. I'm my own man.
Exactly. All right, so we're gonna try to do a little. Like I said, we're gonna do a watch along. So pull up your respective Transformers G1 episode 2, More Than Meets the Eyes episode. We're gonna provide I think I'm going to probably going to provide a link down in the bottom so you can find it and watch along. If not, if you have a Blu-ray, if you have it on DVD, if you have it on VHS, I don't know, maybe Tubi. I don't know where you have
Tubi
it.
Should have it. TUBI.
Okay.
That's a free streaming service. That if they wanted,
okay.
I
mean, hey, why not, right? But I'm going to give you a countdown, and I'm going to probably throw up some stills to go along with it so you have some idea of where we are in the episode. Steven, are you ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready. Bone ready.
All right. So let's do this on go. So we'll give you a countdown. Everybody ready at home? 3, 2, 1, go.
Transformers. Iconic.
So based on our conversations after the last one, I did go and watch these ahead of time, because watching this and talking to you at the same time
cumbersome
was a little
task.
difficult. Yeah, my left and right brain going in both ears, and you in one ear and this in the other. Something I did find out that I made a comment about last time, that I was expecting a Witwicky in the Bayverse movies. Spike and what was his father's name?
I think they call him Sparkplug or something.
Yes. Their last name is Witwicky.
Oh, she. Oh, okay. Well, there you
I
go. That's where that name came
I
from.
didn't know that. Literally had no idea. So this was all new to me.
That's crazy. Something that I
Yeah.
caught from the last episode that I didn't catch, I rewatched it. They're actually taking oil and converting it into energon. So this is just like an oil like
Yes.
arms race. That I didn't catch that. I just thought they usually the plots is like they found energon or like energon is like this
That I
elusive
think it
thing.
was this magical thing that that they just find like a vibranium in Marvel, the Marvel verse now. Um, but yeah, they are. I think in this episode they do delve into that a little more, where they're grabbing oil and other natural resources that they're converting into cubes to take away to get back to Cybertron.
Yeah.
Which was very interesting because I thought, like you said, Energon was a thing. They do address that in Beast Wars. So we'll talk about that in a half an hour. There was something else that I missed. They landed 4 million years ago on Earth.
Right.
I don't think I ever caught that as a kid. They were in the mountain after they beat each other up, just laying there for 4 million years.
4 million
And
years.
then
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, everything's back to normal." They just got up and started, which was very odd. I didn't expect that to be the case.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about like the early Bayformers movies was that like they kind of played on that as well as like the Transformers were always here, like they are the like hypothetical aliens that we were reverse engineering and the Roswell stuff and all like that like brings it home a little bit better. It's a little campy here because they're just like, oh, okay, but like later iterations.
Oh,
of
that's true. They had been in the like fourth or fifth movie. They were here like by the time when knights and things were around.
Yeah,
the time of the
they
round
helped,
table.
What's the wizard?
King Arthur.
Yeah, King Arthur and Merlin.
Yes, which I thought was like, wait a minute, but now that starts to all make sense with when I wrote down 4 million years ago that they were here.
Right.
Which was kind of, I was like, whoa, I totally whiffed on that one. Also, the fact I was noticing that Soundwave doesn't turn into I always thought he'd turn into a large boombox.
No, he's
sizable
like
boombox.
full
He's
shrinky.
like a Walkman.
Yes.
And Spike
Like to
just picked him
scale.
up and was like, all right. Which was pretty wild. I
Yeah.
thought he was way larger. Because later on, Blaster shows up, and I guess he's of the same size unless he's more of a larger boombox. I think that's what he's supposed to be.
But I might be misremembering a little bit. I think that's just off the toys.
And that, he scales up to be... he scales up from Walkman size.
That's the immersion breaker for me. Just like the size change is so drastic. Like if
So
he was like a
drastic.
smaller robot, like maybe he was like a toddler size or something, and he was like on Megatron's shoulder or something, I think that would translate a little bit better. But no, he's still like a 14-foot robot when he transforms.
So that's something I went back and when I rewatched the first 2 episodes. I was like, we'll just do the whole shebang all over again.
Right.
When Megatron has an arm cannon, and he shoots somebody in this one, and it knocks them out. I don't understand why he needs to transform into a pistol. Is it more concentrated in his pistol form?
I have no idea. I don't see. Honestly, does he ever really transform in combat, or is that just in the opening that he really does that?
Well, in the first episode, they get the Autobots show up. He flips into his little gun form, and then Starscream starts shooting using
Right.
Megatron to shoot.
Huh.
And then
I
in
don't
this
know.
episode, he comes out of, I think it's either this episode or it was at the end. He flips out of his gun mode and just uses his arm cannon to blast Optimus. I'm like, why?
But why? Why?
Why? You just could have done that anyways.
Why is this happening? Also, a nitpick is that he says deploy the net, and it's clearly a cage.
Yes. Yeah. There was no netting about it. It just
There's
it
nothing
fell
that's
solidly.
It's just like a cage. It's like so some of that stuff
Also,
like it kind of irks me because they could like just change the word then or like trap them or like get them or something.
yeah. Trap them and then just some
Deploy the
just,
net. I was like,
There you
bruv,
go.
it's not a net.
Also, Casey Kasem does a bunch of voices in this. I'm pretty sure that was Casey Kasem, unless I'm totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Casey Kasem. I don't remember which one he was.
So why are they going after
he is
dam? Are they just going after any kind of like energy thing to like convert
yes.
it to
So
energon?
this so this falls into the energon. There he sends why am I blanking? Rumble down to cause a tidal wave to push more energy through the dam, which will cause them to be able to extract more energon.
Okay.
By turning the turbines faster, I guess.
Fracking? Is this fracking?
Kind of.
I guess.
Kind of.
I can't imagine it will have ramifications. Oh, sorry. This really actually triggers me about Generation 1 Transformers. Why can't they just fly?
I don't know. I don't know. And sometimes they get locked into not being able to fly, which they can just take off at any given time. But yeah, they're like, I'm stuck. And you're like, you can fly. You can take off. You can just go. Why don't you just do it all the time?
Right.
It's
Like
very
going back
strange.
to the whole water rescue, like like one robot's just like able to hit the breaststroke, no problem. But then Optimus is like, I need a grappling hook. It was like, just fly out of the water. Just fly out of the water.
Which later on in we were talking over it, but he's not touching the sea floor. He just picks up the grate and gets them out of there, no problem. Which is like, all right, sure. It's a lot of suspension of disbelief with giant metal robots.
Right, we've just gone so far. And I think like when he stepped into the water to go down to the bottom, he just like insta sank.
Oh yeah, Rumble just right to the bottom, and he's smaller than all of them.
Makes me so mad.
There is something about in Beast Wars which we talk about the flying, but we'll get to that next episode. But yeah, and then they just end up breaking the dam and they get energon out of it. They are able to extract some, but they've overestimated their situation here and have now ruined everything.
Man's engineering doesn't like stand up to these bio like organic mechanical like beings. No.
No, not at all.
No chance.
No chance. And I do love that Soundwave ejects the empty energon cubes.
Yeah.
So here they just grab the energy coming out of the turbines, opposed to like they were filling it with oil last time, like you said, and then they squished it down into the energon itself.
Right, and that also is like a slight like nitpick in world building and suspension of disbelief. Like, get the energon cubes, and they're clearly like flat pancake pillow things. So it's just like just say get the energon.
Yeah, so sometimes they're full cubes. Sometimes they squish them into like pancake form. There's like I think they stopped the pancake form later on because I only remember them being the solid cubes.
Okay.
And they stopped to like, hey, let's just take this thing and mush it down into this weird pancake looking thing.
Let's just not make these egregious like statements that are just like
exactly.
What are you watching? I'm not watching. Like, this is the same thing.
And then this is like he says we're gonna create a whole new river, and then they just start blasting to save people. I mean, it's an honorable thing to do, but I don't know if that's gonna work.
My
tidal
favorite
wave that's been.
My favorite line right there is like, "Thanks, neighbor. Good thing you." It's like the most like redneck thing. Like, oh, I'm glad like Joel down the street had his space laser to save us from the flooding.
Yeah, see, there you go. There's the pancake.
Right,
the
pillows.
pancaked. But yeah, they're just flying.
They're just floating,
which
just
is
like street
okay.
floating. It triggers the crap out of me.
Could they fly? I mean, they could fly on Cybertron, right? I don't recall.
I mean, we were on Cybertron for like a sneeze.
True. And the video games, I don't remember being able to fly.
I mean, if
don't know.
everybody can
I'll
just
have to go
fly, why
back
are they
and
worried
watch
about
that.
like falling and stuff? Like, just fly.
True. This right here, when he's hanging on by his fingertips, I was like, just lift off. Just use your
fly.
boosters. I don't know what you're doing. Grinding his fingers into the thing.
Slingshot.
The slingshot. Yes. What? He's got arm cannons, and he's like, "Hold on, I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you?"
Oh, my cowabunga.
Oh, and here you get your energy weapons that you were.
Oh yeah, these
You
are
were
so
excited
cool.
about.
Like, yeah, when they incorporated that into the Bayformers, I was like, ooh. It made my little boy monkey brain just really happy.
Wait till this fight's over, and you'll see another silly thing.
Yeah, so good, excellent. That's all I want to see.
So what's interesting is when watching this is going to be. I'm going to have a hard time explaining this, but for some reason there seemed like there was a severity or something. There was a gravitas to this to some extent, maybe because it lands more in the anime world and it came from that, where they had been doing this for a while, where I went and watched Beast Wars and it almost was landing, we'll call it hokey, and very like aimed at children. They were like, yes, this was aimed at children, but like it seemed like that took children down a bunch of ages. They were like, let's aim at the bottom of the barrel here. Let's make it cutesy to some extent. And they didn't make it cutesy, but like more to younger ages. And it was very interesting. It's harder to take seriously. Maybe that's it.
Yeah,
like
man,
this, they're destroying a dam. They using it as a.
I just turned it to a bird. Flying.
He's like Thor. And
Megatron,
he
please.
his
I can't handle this.
thing to take off. But yeah, that like it was harder to take the dialogue and what's going on seriously. Maybe because the stakes aren't necessarily there yet.
Right.
In the Beast Wars, where there's human beings here that had a potential of being drowned by a broken dam that has been dammed up for years.
Yeah.
And then we have Spike and his dad and whoever else shows up. That there's stakes here. What's the face for? There's stakes in Beast Wars, but there's stakes between the two of them. There's no external stakes.
I'm like, he just lifted that boulder.
Yes, that too. Spike jumped down. Was all of a sudden Spike had all the power in the world to lift a giant boulder off him.
That's not his baby. He doesn't
And
get
was like,
mom strength.
I can't breathe.
This giant robot hound specifically, which is like one of like the army like strong dude, is like,
Yeah,
I'm under these
and
rocks.
he's-
Is like Spike's like, I got it. Do you even lift, bro?
Got it, no problem.
Mercy.
So we're gonna get into something here. Like, so they're flying
All over.
conceivable all over. Like they're in. I don't even know where this is. The Black Diamond mines.
So they can just take any kind of like fuel or combustible energy and just like siphon that into
Yeah,
energon.
They're literally flying around the world because at one point coming up, they head over to Burma or something like that for red diamonds, and I'm like, oh, so they're just hauling ass around the world to collect energy from everywhere.
Because their only job, like they just want to get back to Cybertron. They don't necessarily care about.
They don't want to be here.
Right.
Yeah. Because he says it right here. He's like, I don't, it's like, we're trying to get back and you're wasting. This brings up and it brought up an interesting point that with Starscream being Megatron's first in command, if you will, he's always pushing back against him. In Beast Wars, they kind of tried to do the same thing on the Maximal side.
Yes.
But we'll get into that. And I was like, I don't know if we actually needed that. But I've noticed that that's a big difference from here, where Optimus Prime is the leader. Nobody questions him. Like, I tell you what to do, you're off to the races doing it.
Yeah, and I think that's where they wanted something different to like what if Optimus was younger, or like what if he was like less in his career, because like Optimus Prime is like, he's a veteran. I don't think, because I don't know if this goes into the subplot, because Megatron was in the gladiator pits in this iteration of Transformers, correct? Like that's his origin story. That's why he led this.
This like, Megatron?
Yes.
Maybe.
Okay.
Let me fact check. Like, should be right about here-ish. I'll put the fact check down.
Right. So basically, like, usually how Megatron's backstory is written is that he's like a gladiator in the pits, and he wants to. It's basically like a oppression war, like the Decepticons or his people like are the fighters. They're in the battle pits. They're in these things, and he led this uprising and eventually the overtaking of Cybertron. And then like Optimus was also in the battle pits or something. Like it's just this weird like dynamic sometimes, and it's never quite clear to me how Optimus, like beyond just having the Matrix, functions as like a leader, like why he got there.
And that I don't want to say they blindly follow him, but he is definitely
they're
the
pretty
leader,
loyal.
And no one questions what he says.
Right. Because I think that's always an interesting difference between like Hotshot's iterations and Bumblebee's iterations, as like the upstart like rookie into ascending into like second into command, especially Hotshot specifically more. I don't know how often they do it with Bumblebee, but like there's an origin of just like, okay, like I'm going to start to question, I'm going to start to like take on some leadership roles and forge my own path, and then like Optimus eventually dies, and then I'm the leader now. Like that storyline is.
No, Hot Rod. I was like, who's Hotshot? I was like, who are you talking about?
Hot Rod. They lost the license to Bumblebee, and so they converted Hot Rod and Hotshot and Bumblebee into like a new character, and they like amalgamated that for like Armada and Prime and a couple other ones. Whenever there's not Bumblebee, when they lost that license, they had Hotshot. So that's the one I'm more familiar with, because that was the first done in, I think, almost only in Armada. Okay. Yeah.
How did they lose the license to Bumblebee?
Hasbro be gooping sometimes, you know.
Oh, okay. Good job, Hasbro.
But there's all okay. So Hot Rod, Bumblebee,
yes.
Hotshot. I think they do it later with like Blur and some other character. Like there's always that like second in command or like rookie like ascension into leadership. And we never see that with Optimus, which is why I think it's very interesting in Beast Wars, where they show that like there's some questioning. There's like maybe he's not this all omnipotent like leader that we can just blindly follow, more or less.
Yeah.
Because of XYZ reason. That's not here so much, except for I think in a later episode, like there's an issue with like a mining explosion, and he gets really shooketh. And Optimus is like, what am I doing? And there's some leadership questioning there. Oh, wait. This might be it, actually.
This is it, right? Yeah. This was I think, what you're referring to.
Yeah, he gets a little upsetty here. And so it's just,
that was very funny. He's like, hey, let's go to the mine. They drive like 50 yards. They get out and transform and go in the mine instead of just driving into the mine.
Where is this like resource output in modern day America? Because they just got like, they're just pumped. They got an oil rig off the coast. They've got a dam pushing electricity. They got a ruby mine or whatever this is, all within like a 20 block radius. Dang.
Well, that was the thing that I was questioning about it, is that I think they said this is in Burma or something.
Oh, okay.
That effect. But like, I don't even. Do we know where they landed? I don't know where they landed.
Dang, Sparkle just got yeeted. He's dead.
We assumed they're in America. So
True.
if they're going from America to Burma to they were in the mountains somewhere earlier getting electricity. So they're like all over the place. And again, I guess they could just fly there because that's what they could just fly.
They could just fly.
Oh, this was interesting. After they told us that it was 4 million years, the computer just decided to kick on. Right? They had all beat each other up. They were laying dead. The probe flew out and started collecting data.
Yeah.
It started collecting data and then was like, I'm going to fix the Decepticons. And it started to fix Decepticons. This is their ship. This was the Autobot ship.
Right.
Is this what you're talking about?
Isn't it technically Teletran system or something like that?
Teletran 1?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, if I remember correctly, like Teletran is like an older Cybertronian tech that they've kind of like cobbled together. And so like the Teletran system, I guess, wouldn't even know the difference because it predates the Cybertronian like Autobot Decepticon war. That's some deep lore that I have no like credentials. Like I'm not a Tolkien scholar or whatever it is as far as for Transformers, but that would be if I was up on like the debate stage trying to like defend that stance. Is like the Teletran system. It's like an ancient like Transformers tech, maybe. So it would be like, I just got to follow protocol here.
We'll have to do some research on that for
why
for the next go
why
yeah.
You know what, of all the things that we ask questions why about with this show, that's the really befuddler for me.
Oh man, well, that was another great episode of Transformers More Than Meets the Eyes, episode 2, part 2. I think it's called part 2.
Episode 1 part 2, but the second
part 2
episode.
Yes.
It's an arc.
It's an arc. Exactly. I think there's a part 3. I think
I think it's a 3-parter.
Okay.
And so that's when we were setting this up. I was like, do we just count like it as all one episode? But honestly, they jump like enough between it. Like each one is pretty self-contained episode with like just a really ridiculous cliffhanger. But
yes, absolutely.
Like the mines going off. The bombs. They went off in the mine.
Any final thoughts on the second part of episode 1?
I think my big takeaway is like there is a lot of world building suspension that I'm not a huge fan of initially. So that's probably my biggest issue is that like why the hell can they fly? These water physics don't check. And that there's a way to look at it and be like, it's just a cartoon, but it really shouldn't be, like when someone's making it. I know that they're kind of going for like the cybernetic warrior and stuff, but then they like play it up in the wrong times. And I just like, I can't believe that like when it was being, because this was conceived in the 70s in Japan and then released in the 80s in the US.
Well, it was based off another toy line,
right? That
they took and kind of morphed into Transformers.
Yeah.
So, but we can definitely delve more into that next go around. Gonna do some research. Nick's gonna do some research. Definitely.
Yes. You gotta bring your arguments to the table.
Yes. So, Steven, would you like to give some plugs before we leave this fine show and hop over to Beast Wars?
Yeah, make sure you jump over to my channel to check out the second half of this. We're going to watch through the second episode of Beast Wars, the vastly superior product. Make sure you like and subscribe both of our channels. We really appreciate it. Like this video, share this video. I know people are getting hyped for the Rise of the Beasts movie that's coming out. It's probably out now.
That's like
given recording and release schedule. So it's hype. We're here for it. I want to see the rise of Transformers in current era. I'm thinking Nick is feeling it too with all the toys and stuff. Yeah. So it's time.
I just watched the last trailer and I was like, ooh. Okay. All right. I think you got me.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you again, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hello and welcome to Gen Wars on Funky Games. We're watching through the Beast Wars series, but this is a collaborative project with good old Nick, our editor over at Fire Hazard 508 Creations. It's a combative conversation. It's Gen X versus the filthy, filthy, dirty, disgusting, horrible, no good millennials. How you doing, Nick?
Good, how are you?
I'm big chilling, looking at it every day with new opportunity. Just like we have the opportunity to tell you to go to the Funky Store, funky.store. You can get the good merch.
Look at that
you can check that out
look
over
at that
there.
Shirt.
It's a nice shirt. That's a
Yeah.
great shirt.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah,
It's
nostalgic.
I've seen it on the website, but I have not seen it on you.
Yeah, it's a little bit tighter these days than it used to be, but sometimes we just get
It
old and
happens.
fat.
I know the feeling, my friend.
Well, we're jumping into the second episode of Beast Wars, and we invite you to watch along however you have it. We'll give a nice little countdown to the episode. I believe it's streaming free on Tubi. You can check that out. But if you got the Blu-rays, you got the VHS tapes, just wherever you can watch it, you can just put it on. Have a good time. But Nick, do you have anything you want to intro with, or any plugs?
Well, first we got to go watch the first video, the first one on my channel.
What
on
are you
Fire
doing
Hazard
here?
508 Creations.
What are you
just so
doing
we
here?
can
You haven't watched the first
lead
part?
in. Yeah, if you didn't watch the first part, get out of here first.
Get out of
watch
here.
it over there.
You got to
and then
watch
come
the
back.
first part, you silly goose. You got to watch the first part. So now that you went and watched the first part, welcome back. Hello. Nick's
And
gonna
I
count
might
us
try to
down.
tag a link somewhere for some site if we have one, if we can find one, down in the description here. I don't know. That's my job. I'll be doing that at some point.
Yes. And a little bit of warning, we did get a content claim, obviously, because we just were watching along. Wasn't transformative enough, unfortunately, pun intended. But so we're going to change up the video below or to the side of us, wherever it ends up, just so it's a little bit
Side
less
to side.
risky on YouTube. But definitely watch along. I think we provide enough commentary that you can just watch this video too and have a good experience. So just prepare for that little bit of a change going forward. So without further ado, old Nick, you want to give us the countdown?
All right. We're going to do this on go. So get your play buttons ready. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh boy, we're back again on a mysterious planet in a mysterious time.
So one thing I didn't catch the first go around
yeah.
was that they can only stay in their robot form for a smash my microphone, a small period of time.
Yes.
And then they start bugging out and they got to turn back.
Yeah, it's
to
energon
heal or whatever.
overload. There's just so much energon in the area that their body is just like, drugs are bad, and they have to go into their beast mode. I think it's a great balancing of like Transformers are innately OP, just like straight up.
Absolutely.
So I
Big
think this
giant
is
robots.
yeah. So I think this is like a great system to kind of like to enable the guerrilla warfare. Also pun intended. But we see that in Generations. Or Generation 1 Transformers, is that like there's a lot of like strike, like in and out missions and stuff like that, like move location. It's just kind of like, oh, we got to get repairs or whatever. I think this adds a little bit more of like the like strike team situation that lends itself more to like a featured like situation of the week content.
So also watching this, I assumed they were on Earth.
Could be.
No,
we don't know.
they
It's a
are
mysterious
not.
planet with a lot of Earth-like aliens on it.
That's what I was, because I assumed it was Earth, and then I went back and rewatched the first episode of both just to refresh my brain before watching this ahead of time, because I wanted to make sure that I had was able to take some notes.
Yeah.
And I noticed that there was at least 2 moons.
Two.
And so, yeah, it's in the very first episode where they show a wide shot. We have a big giant moon and a small moon. One's in crescent. And I was like, that's not Earth then. But there's cheetahs. there's raptors, there's T-Rexes, gorillas, like
REOSs.
this is kind of Earth-ish.
Earth-like.
Earth-like. Which is something I wanted to ask you, like, so something that I was noticing is the stakes of G1 had very human stakes because there was humans involved. Here, there's no humans. ... Yet. I don't know. Yet. Okay, so there may be. Okay.
Yeah, there's some good reveal that I don't want to give away for the sake of conversation, but you're asking the right questions. You're making the right observations.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm leaning in the right direction.
Yes, which gives me much joy and really just like tickles the good parts of my brain for discussions later. We'll
I'm not just
star by those.
I'm not just cutting your videos and having this on the side. I'm actually watching it, and I got notes. I got lots of notes actually.
Yes, no, I've done a lot of deep dives into Beast Wars because I think I've watched it 3 times in my life. Granted, when I was a kid,
3
I was
times
probably
through.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I just caught when it was on. Obviously, it was a different time where we didn't have instant access to like, whatever we wanted to watch at any given time. It was crazy back then. You wouldn't believe. We actually went outside and touched grass because nothing was on.
At a certain time, you had to be there, and if not, you missed it.
It was truly like a 30-40 minute ordeal because they had so many commercials in there and there's overlap and But I find
Optimus's mouth to be very odd. It's almost like he's wearing a helmet where he has this weird, I don't know, it just for some reason it looks odd.
Yeah.
Because he's like set in amongst this like almost helmet.
Yeah. Yeah, like a warrior knight.
Well, but like so, why Starscream, Dinobot? What is his name?
Pterosaur.
No, not Pterosaur.
Dinobot?
Who he's fighting with?
Dinobot.
Who he's fighting with here?
Yeah, Dinobot.
Yeah, just Dinobot.
It's just straight up Dinobot.
Oh, okay. His face is all one piece, where. And even with the old Optimus Prime, he had like the shield that kind of was moved up and down as he talked, where this is like he has a face inside of his thing, and it's almost like it's almost like a kind of Muppety in a weird way.
Yeah,
he has like a helmet kind of thing on. I don't know. I found it to be a little strange as I continue to look at it more and more.
This is a loose justification, but these versions of Transformers have more like cybernetic organics to them. Canonically within like the world that they're building. So again, interesting observation, but is explained away a little bit into like a lot of them have like components that'll like shift up. So I think Optimus does have like where a full like face mask will come up and you don't see his they call it technorganic components.
Like Cheetor's gun that has the weird
squishy brain. Yeah, so they wanted to give them more of like that, like being like not just like straight robots. Like these are like where'd they come from? They got some organics, they got some like technology, and it's just like a little bit more like alien to them rather than just straight robot.
And whatever, who was the spider?
Tarantulas.
He's very wet looking.
Yeah. Is he supposed to be gross? Yeah, I love some of like the material like renders on these. It's like, that hasn't aged quite as well. Yeah, his pickle mouth.
It does. It looks just like they always have to say their name.
Yes.
And I'm assuming this is just because it's episode 2, and I'm gonna let it slide for now.
No, they do it the entire time.
Oh, that's rough. That's gonna make me dislike this even more. Because like I get it. What you made a mention of it last time where G1 they were like Mirage, and then they never say Mirage again. They do. They started to say it. I was noticing that they come back and say their name at least to identify him or identify them amongst the crowd. Like, I need you to do something specific. But they don't. They're not like, Mirage, turn into a car, transform.
Roll out.
It's like everybody transform and we go. But every time it's, Waspinator, terrorize, Pterosaur, terrorize. I get it. We're terrorizing. We can enough.
I don't know if they ever like play on that or anything, but it's very like anime girl transformation. Like, we got to use that voice line. We paid for those. Like,
and Rat Trap is. I'm surprised he doesn't get smacked around by Optimus. But you had brought this up in the last episode in our previous recording that we just recorded, that this is Optimus Primal, like, early years.
Yes,
where he's not necessarily the general that the OG Optimus Prime is at this point in time.
Right, because
technically Rat Trap is just questioning and just talking back and being completely insolent to his orders. He's like, no, you do it. I'm not doing it. Why am I gonna put myself in that in that position?
Yeah, I definitely think that's a character flaw that's intentional, just to make the character more interesting. He's like the Demolition's like spy guy. He's like always kind of like, what's his deal? But I like that dynamic so much that just plays like this is a ragtag early group, like basically first mission out, like barely even know each other. Like,
okay,
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. They're still getting to know each other. And I found it kind of gross that his whole rat body is on his back. I know that they have the rat head on the front, and as he's running, just his little feet are just up against his back. And I'm like, oh,
his little rat paws.
His little rat paws. Oh, man. Excuse me. Oh, no.
I really wish that they had brought some kind of mechanic like the Energon Overload to or had it in the earlier iterations of the show, because that would make sense. Like Megatron, like being super OP and powerful, but he has to turn into like a useless gun at parts of the episode or something. That would make sense to me for like a power dynamic. It's like, oh god, Megatron's in his robot form, we're goobed, guys. And then like he's like, oh, I'm getting overloaded, he turns into a gun, and now Starscream's like, now I'm the boss. Like, I think that'd be an interesting dynamic.
That could work. That could have worked, and it made it a little interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of, you're right, turning into, as we discussed earlier, he has a big giant cannon on his arm that is the same thing.
It's the same gun.
Same gun. It's just bigger, and then he turns down into a small gun to do the same thing, wielded by somebody else.
Yep.
I don't know. It's very strange.
It's a little bit different, I will say. So now we have some discourse going on. What is this guy doing? Dinobot's been betrayed after betraying the betrayal.
Rat Trap wants nothing to do with it.
Absolutely. He's
absolutely nothing to do with it.
But I think this was a great way to like even the teams out by still giving like the underdog situation initially, like on the abandoned. It was like, oh, we'll have Dinobot switch over and be like a constant like question mark as far as his loyalties, because he's barely loyal to anyone. Why is he going to be loyal to the Maximals and stuff? So
true. Now we got Megatron, who's a T-Rex. We got a Pterosaur. We got a Raptor. Are there more Dino bots to come? Because I mean, in G1 we had exclusively Dinobots.
The full
they were their own like subline.
So in the toys, yes, they had more. In later issues, versions, iterations of the show, they do have. I think the War Kingdom, the War for Cybertron series had great versions of like the Dinobots, which fell more in line with this, but they were skeletons, which I thought was cool. Like, because when they did the scans,
Skeletons
like,
as bones?
yeah, they were just
As
bones.
okay.
Because they scanned it, it's like, this is organic life technically, but all we could find are the bones. So I guess that's just how they were.
Which they did here. When
Right.
they scanned, all those were just bones, and then somehow they skinned themselves.
Right. So I think maybe they were just bones and not like fossils at this point, but that's kind of like, that doesn't make sense, like, with science behind it. But, you know, let's slide it because we got a big T-Rex Megatron version, and we should all be happy for that. So
That was interesting that they showed the Stonehenge kind of thing.
Yep.
So I guess that's where we're leaning into potentially being some sort of humanoid forms in here.
Yep. It's an old time, though. It's a long time ago.
Now, see, they didn't. Now, see, they all transform here, and they don't yell their things. Only the Predacons do. Well, at least at this moment.
Yeah, I think it's because it's like the third transformation of that. Like, the first one of each episode usually is pretty, like, we got to pad out some
Okay.
runtime here.
And I guess if you're coming into the episode,
I think there was a lot of attention to, like, each episode could be your first episode, and you need to be invested just upon any viewing at any point.
Okay. I guess that makes sense from a company making a show, toys. See, there's two moons there. If you didn't see that, there's two distinct moons on the thing.
Interesting.
On the horizon. And here's
moons.
the thing we were talking about: flying.
Yes.
He actually has flying mode.
And that is a rare thing. He is the only flyer of the Maximal team, which comes into play later.
Oh, okay. So they all don't have this. I guess a rhino is going to be hard pressed to fly.
I mean, if it was G1, absolutely, he would just Superman right off the screen. Like,
also, I noticed when he stopped flying for a second, it sounded like he took a puff off an inhaler.
I love the little campy, like, jokes in there. They're so funny to me. They're great, especially Waspinator. The comic relief of his character is just
Yes,
on point every
I can
time.
See that. And then we got the dissension in the, well, I guess it's not dissension. He just didn't want him there in the first place.
Right. I was about to say, this is pretty standard. And I love just, like, the willingness to, like, hold people at point gun range in a kid's show. Like, that's not something you do today.
That's kind of, I guess, unheard of at this point in time.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it in G1.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't look like that. And honestly, like, the weight, because of the CGI and how well it is done for the time, like, that's way more realistic than what we had probably seen in most cartoons. Aimed at kids, like the 80s anime and stuff probably felt like pretty real, but I guess I wasn't even over here as much anymore. So on American television, that would have been bonkers.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was noticing the interest in the difference in power structure, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so we have a gorilla, a rhino, are pretty powerful animals. A raptor, but he's kind of not with them. He's just there.
Right.
But we have a T-Rex. T-Rex is pretty powerful. He's got bite force, but we got a giant robotic gorilla, a cheetah, and then the other ones are like a wasp, a pterosaur, a scorpion. They're not very powerful animals. They got pinchies and bites and stuff,
Like
and
gimmicks.
stingers, gimmicky stuff. Yeah, but they're not very powerful in that realm.
Pretty deceptive.
Yes. Decepticons.
Decepticons. No, these are the Predacons, sir. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Predators.
That's the other episode. He's so wet.
It's so
Scorponok's so wet.
I love, like, the way and the camera angles. Like, it's just so fun to me.
That was very. I noticed that. I noticed that there was a lot of that. Right, they do it here in a minute where they get right up in Primal's face and they kind of do the trombone shot where they're pulling back and zooming in at the same time to show something bad is about to happen. But they're like up close on his face, which I don't say never happens, but for a show like this to do that is interesting.
It was expensive. There's just no way. Like this was just so like insane because like I can't remember this. It was a Canadian show like where they were in the computer world or whatever. I cannot remember what it was, but that was like the first CGI show, and it just pales in comparison to this.
I'll have to do some research.
Yeah.
I'll put it right down here to tell you what it is in my little fact bar.
Look
chomping his leg.
Battle damage.
Battle.
Buy your unique release battle damage Optimus Primal. That's different.
Did they ever release battle damage ones?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think they did with regular Transformers either. No. They did with He-Man though, because they all had the like weird chest plates that flipped over when you hit them.
Right.
I can just picture.
Oh man, he's gonna transform right in this energon pit. You fool! Megatron, please.
Yeah, one would think that like that would do him in, right? If you're in the one little
bazooper,
one little hit and sends it off to the side.
Dinobot, he saved him. But that's pure energy. He just launched a missile.
That's right here, this shot.
Yeah,
where it's like pushing so close into his face.
I can see all the polys. Oh man, it's honestly bonkers to me how like not polygonal these are, and like it actually has really good smooth 3D models. Like
smooth, exactly. Yeah, no, that's for the time. And him riding on the back of the Rhino is, I think, is hilarious every time. Every time.
It's always funny.
But yeah, you would assume that in this situation, you'd see a lot more, since it was so new to make this, that you'd see a lot more of all the gross polygons and whatnot behind the scenes there.
Well, and it would have worked for like G1 Transformer designs, because like those are innately like there's pretty defined planes and they're pretty like geometric in shape. Like the polygons would lend themselves to that aesthetic. But they're like, nope, like everybody's gonna be really smooth, rounded like shapes. I'm sure the 3D people are like, oh my god, well, we're gonna work on Transformers. Like this is.
We got to do what? No.
How many curves? How many planes are we doing or whatever? Like, excuse me?
Like, even though his fur, Optimus Primal's fur, even Rat Trap's fur, like, it's there. You understand that it's supposed
clearly
to be
a bump map or whatever, like a texture map. It's not like there's no hair engine.
But it doesn't look bad.
No, it works.
And I love that he just champions the name of the show at the end. He's like, this is what it's gonna be the Beast Wars.
It's the Beast Wars.
You said the name of the show.
He did the
name of the movie. He did the thing.
Oh man.
Oh.
But yeah, I like how many things you're picking up. Like this is gonna have payoff that I'm really excited about. So
yeah, no, I'm definitely watching this with a keen eye and also with a pen in hand to take notes.
Critical.
I'm enjoying what's going on. I have no idea where this story's going because, again, we have no human stakes at the moment. So
right.
How long can you carry that before you have to bring in human beings? It's just 5-on-5 robots beating each other up with nary a stake of human being, or like, I guess they're both trying to get off the planet. So, okay, who gets there first?
I find it very interesting that because that's always been like my criticism of Transformers is like, I don't care about the humans in the show ever. And maybe that's just like my, like, and I always was wondering like why when we saw the Bayformers or we see new iterations of Transformers, there is a desire to like, okay, it's got to be on Earth. It's got to be like, and like my favorite franchises are Beast Wars and War Cybertron. It's exclusively like the Transformers storyline. I don't care if they come and kidnap the president. Like, what? There's plenty of things that can do that. Like that doesn't entertain me or put stakes on it. And I think it's just so much better world building, and it brings me into the world of Transformers when it's not on Earth and when it's not like it's about like the Cybertronian War or Unicron War or whatever.
It's something for you to identify with. That's why it's there.
Interesting.
And other than that, like, you just have a bunch of fictitious giant robots punching each other, and so I guess
what more do you want?
True.
I'm a man of simple pleasures, Nick.
It doesn't need to be there, but again, you're trying to make a summer blockbuster that you're selling toys, you're getting, parents to take the kids there. Someone's got to be in peril, and it can't just be a giant metal robot, I guess. It could be done in the right manner.
I guess kind of maybe like Avatar is a good way to look at that. Like, not the Nickelodeon one, but the Way of Water.
Avatar.
I think that had that issues as well.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Avatar. I didn't get out to see it.
You never saw the original Avatar?
No.
That's crazy, actually.
I know.
As much trouble as everyone gives me for not seeing movies, that one's like...
Yeah,
at least easy to come by.
True. I could watch it now. I'm sure it would lose its luster or has lost. It doesn't work when I'm watching it on my 65-inch TV at home, opposed to in the theater with.
Yeah, I mean, didn't James Cameron basically say like, don't even bother watching it outside of the theater? Like,
probably. If I know James Cameron like I think I know James Cameron, yeah, he said that. And I don't know James Cameron other than what he says on interviews.
It's like, oh, Nick's got... Yeah, I'm good friends with James. That's why I did watch his movie.
Yeah, no problem. We talk all the time.
He told me all about it when he was doing it. Like, I don't know, you watch it.
All right, Steven, hit him with the plugs.
You need to make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on the things. Like, did you ring the bell? Do you know when new episodes are coming out? We also play video games and all kinds of other stuff on the channel. So you want to know when it's going through. We're playing through all the video games. You need to like and follow Nick. He makes cool stuff. He's got all these awesome display items. Like, he just did a Princess Bride like movie like display thing. It's awesome. You need to go check that out.
Probably in that box right over there. Go check that out.
It's right over there. You can go look at it.
Or maybe it's over there. I'm not quite sure what side it's on.
We'll make sure it's accessible. So all you got to do is hit the buttons. Click away. Have a great time. Tap if you're on your phone. It's a good time. So we appreciate you being here. We appreciate you. Make sure you comment below anything. Like in the last episode, we had some people bring up some great like conversations about canon, like what's canon, what's not, development. Like, I want to hear about it. I want to be a better Transformer like lore guy. So hit me up with those. And we'll see you in the next one.
Don't forget funky.store.
Funky.store, where you can get cool merch. Check that out, funky.store.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you.